Okay, g'day everybody. Hi Martha, I'm glad you stopped by. That's really cool. I'd like to welcome any new listeners as well. Just welcome all to the Forbidden History Chronicles. You're here with NinjaCat 111 and our dear friend Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel. We're doing live streams on my channel at the moment while Desert organises a new computer. So we're doing it as much as we can on my channel. Hopefully every night. If not, it'll be every second night. It's going to be a regular thing until Desert can get his streams going again. Anyway, I'll read this introduction. This was written by Desert. It's called The Signs of the Times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time. Who they are and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world. About who the giants really were and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity, V-manners, the earth-based, misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology, and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. Desert can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. He can discuss the ultimate in mind control and ancient art, and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time, through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it, but they are cleverly leaving us in the dark. Hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water to tainted vaccines to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate. But they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was written by Dezert-Owl. G'day, Desert. How's it going?
Hey, Ninja. It's going. It's as the world turns, it keeps on spinning. But everything that has a beginning has an end, and so there will be an end to planet Earth one day, and it seems like it's coming sooner than later.
Yeah.
So that may be what Yeshua referred to as the Gentile dispensation. He said when the Gentile dispensation is over, the last days for 2,000 years, so people don't get the scriptural theme, and it's not their fault because that's why so much has been hidden from us, and we have a remnant of our scriptures left. In 2017, we need little books, and then just near 50 books in the Old Covenant when there used to be a library. And so Enoch talked about the Mashiach coming at the end of time, and also the other navigators. It was all about the end of time, and when the one who made all things would come to deliver mankind, and that was 2,000 years ago. And even in Hebrews, in 9:26, I think it is, Hebrews says, and at the end of the world, he came. So the world ended 2,000 years ago, but it was a metaphysical ending. It was an ending to the tolerance of the darkness that rules the world, because Yeshua made a way that people could be in his light and to live pure and innocent. And so the operation of soul novation and transformation has been ongoing for 2,000 years. It's hiding in the great mystery, because obviously if it's over, it would be crushed and destroyed. So the occult take over the symbolism and the tradition through a false tradition, and that preserves the baby. The baby is the story and the truth that is hiding within the false traditions. It had to be that way in order to maintain the message of soul novation and redemption. So the world is run by false religions, but out of it comes the truth, and so that's why we have to be miners. We have to be dig deep and go down the cavern and pull out the gems that belong to the sacred tradition that has been smashed by occultists and the most wicked types of people on the planet that we could ever imagine.
Wow. Wowing already. Yeah. That's well, it's the truth. That's where we're at. That's where we're at now. Yeah. Yeah. So, did you want to keep going with this list at the moment?
Yeah. So let's keep going. And I heard you mention Martha's name. I want to say hi to Martha from Ontario out there, and glad to have you. And then just then carrying the ball for the Forbidden History series, and we'll, even when we get ramped back up, we'll still do 2 or 3 interviews a week with Ninja, because she's done such a great job, and also, but we're trying to interconnect. Anybody else wants to do an interview, love to engage. I figure once I get ramped up, no telling how long before they take me down again, and so the more we're networked out there with these little seeds of truth, then the harder it will be for them to take us down. But I may have been I had my computer infiltrated by the local Masons here in Millersburg, Ohio. In January, they stripped all my data and crashed my computer. I confirmed that by a tech, and now it may have happened again. So no telling. You're gonna have to relocate. That's one thing for sure, and it takes money to do everything. So we're just gonna have to hope that we can gain support from our friends and listeners out there, and try to provide good information in exchange. That's about all we can do. Going to start working on the Transliteration project by the end of the week, because I have another computer coming in now. Hopefully by the end of the week, and we'll see. So anyway, where are we at on the list?
I just wanted to add to what you were saying. I agree. Yeah, it's good to have a few backup plans, a few backup channels. And then more people will hopefully stumble across the truth as well. Anyway.
Yeah.
Where are we up to? Oh, we're talking about the grand deception used to control all of mankind.
Yeah.
And the three main...
Read that sentence so we can flow into the next one, that way I can follow.
Okay. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. And the next one's a long one. Their cyber code has been revealed to you because you have become adept.
Hold on. There was something about media prior to that, wasn't there? Something start with media,
mass media, but that was up here with like communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo politics, etc.
Right. Okay. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the religion. Maybe that would be then where we're at next. The three main religions and how they control. Obviously, this is maybe an appropriate time because we have happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that sort of stuff, and Happy Hanukkah, and and all of it's a fallacy.
Yeah.
It's all a fallacy. The only holiday I've ever kept since I became a young man, once I was on my own, I never kept Christmas anymore. Even though I was still working out my spiritual direction and didn't quite have my direction, I think, yet at that time. Well, I stopped. I just knew that it's really funny when I'm remembering now when I was about 5 years old, give or take, and my mother took me to the shopping store, and I guess we call them department stores, and so there was Santa Claus there, so she put me on his lap, and he went, what do you want, young kid, and everything. And I'm looking, and I see his mustache has strings attached to it, to his beard, It's like, and I'm thinking, well, what is this, And so I get off the guy's lap. I never wanted to sit on Santa Claus' lap again. The guy was a fraud.
Yeah, I used to hate it. Yeah, keep going, sorry.
He didn't even have a real beard, And it's like, so I knew something was up. I didn't know what it was, and I wasn't telling anybody. Nobody was telling me, And so from that point on, Santa Claus was on the outs with me because I knew it wasn't real. And so it's that way, about everything. So finally, so in other words, something tips us off, and how can I not notice a fake beard on this guy, and like, okay, you think I'm stupid or something, Santa,
Yeah.
I know your game. You're fat. You've been milking everybody, and you've got everything going for you, and you're gonna hand out trinkets. No, I'm kind of like having a little fun with that idea now, but you know what I'm saying? That that he represents what he represents. Of course, is the red. The red is the stain of blood. That he's wearing. He's stained in blood because the red is the regal of the elite that run the world. The red cardinals. They wear all red. The royal horses wear red hoofs. For symbolic of walking on the bodies of the dead that they've killed throughout the millenniums. The Feast of Saturnalia is the true Christmas, which celebrates the longest day of the year, the winter solstice, and the death of mankind in the sense of that it's the shortest day of the year. 3 days, the sun does not begin to lengthen its time. It goes dormant for 3 days in the solstice, and then the days start to lengthen again. But because the people were primitive and they could mind control them real well, they said, look, the earth is dying, and the only thing that's going to bring life back is if we have a ritual sacrifice. And they said, so, who can we kill? Okay, let's kill our enemies, And they went and grabbed some enemies, and they would have ritual sacrifices on the shortest days of the year. And in the process also, they all, being superstitious, said, look, we ought to be nice to our slaves. Let's give our slaves a week off. Let's give them presents and give each other presents, and everybody be happy. And and Mary, happy Mary Saturnalia, and then maybe life will come back to the earth. And of course, the priest said anybody that brain knows that the earth is just spinning around in its cycle, and life is going to come back. They didn't have to do any ritual sacrifices, but that's what they get the people to do. The people are stupid, and other than the few that wake up, and see the string on the mustache of the Santa,
I just thought they were creepy. Like being a little girl, I just thought creepy old men. Yeah. Anyway.
Santa Claus. I wonder what the real Claus is,
Wow, I didn't even see that one.
But Satana, you can see the word Santa sounds like Satana.
Yeah,
Satana.
Knew that one.
So all the elements are there, and so then they ultimately would sacrifice babies, or at one point it was Christians. So in other words, what we're celebrating, what we're salivating over is the period of time when more people were slaughtered and murdered for phony ritual sacrifice than any other time in the year.
Yeah. So is that powerful? Is that powerful to them, to the bad guys, like that?
Well,
this is done.
Power to them
this
because
is
they're controlling the people.
Yeah,
There's
this
no
is
real
celebrated every year.
Power.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah. So intuitively, I didn't want to follow Christmas once I became free and independent from a parent. Once I was out of the house, and so the only holiday I ever observed or thought was worthy of observing was Thanksgiving. And then I eventually find out that even that story is not quite true. There's always a lie associated with the benevolent idea that somebody's put forth for us. So, but Thanksgiving we can still be thankful and forget the other part of it where it's not true, correct, complete. Maybe it's misleading a little bit, but so the holidays then, and of course Yeshua, the Mashiach, even though from a solar standpoint it is the message of the Redeemer, meaning that the cosmic theme of Yeshua is built within the star constellations and the cycles of the sun, moon, planets, and all that. It's all expressing, everything speaks about our Redeemer, and his creation is his story, and so but yet he was actually born while the sheep were still out in the fields, and so in the northern hemisphere that would be October, September. It was getting to the point when they would have to come in and not be out in the fields anymore. But it was right at the time when it was just getting too cold, which was right around September, October, and it was actually they had a festival called the Feast of Booths, and so that was at that period of time. And the booth everyone made was to remember that they were once nomads, sojourners in the desert, and with the booth they'd have to keep a little window in the top of it so that the Mashiach could come in by the breath of the Spirit, and so that was the time. And there's a festival that was in the tradition of Israel that typified the time when the Mashiach would come. So and he did come, but he didn't come by any man-made structure. He came and was born in a cave that was sheltering animals, and because there was no room for him at the inn, there was no kindness and consideration for a pregnant woman in labor, and
so all of that part is because that's what I've been wondering. Sorry to jump in, but especially lately I've been wondering what's been changed or what's been true, and so all of that part of the story is true.
What part? I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. Right again.
Where I've been wondering about the birth, like his birth, and what's true and what's been twisted and what's missing, and so that's true that the part about the inn and how he was born in a cave with animals, except it was what, a barn or something in the Bible.
Well, it was a cave that probably had a wall structure in front of it.
Yeah.
Perhaps to help shelter better, but it was a cave nonetheless. And to the point where some depict it like an overhang. It doesn't matter. What was relevant to this aspect is that it is the Mother Earth.
Yeah.
That the Elohimic Mother, the nature providing the mechanism for shelter, for protection. It's the Elohimic that is our protector. We receive food every day from the earthly mother, the Elohim. Elohim is feminine because it is creation. All of creation was designed to serve us. It was all made for us in this drama that's playing out of creation, because it was about a creation that would that was made. Actually, you see, it's interesting. I just was reading before you called, and let me see if I can find that. I was reading. I was reading, looking at my notes, and it was about the image of God. It was called the image of God in the Dictionary on Myths and Symbols and scriptures from around the world, and so many good interpretations of our scriptural tradition. And so in there it was said, let us make man in our image, but yet it was man. You see, now I know the code very well now, and man is as you see, if you put two O's in there, you get moon, because the MN is about the division. The MM is the parent root. The M is two N's, so it's really M and N. The N is the division, that which came down for creation, the duality, the opposites. And so literally, because if we go to Old English, man means criminal and sinner, and if we go into the Babylonian Talmud, it means something even worse. I can't remember it literally because it's been a long time since I had read that. But so man is a negative term. But what man really means, when we see its prime root as being the word moon, if we have the two prime symbols, one is light, one is darkness, because the moon is solid, then we realize that the ancients saw the moon as the symbol of creation. And that's why they also followed the lunar cycle and considered that their mother, because it's the softer light. The fiery light represents the father. There's male, female, in all three spheres, but it depends upon what association or story doctrine we're talking about. And so literally, man, the correct terminology in our scriptures for man, as it said, if you study, you find out that they interchange the word Adam and with man back and forth. It could be, should be maybe Adam, but then they somehow want to just use the word man. And at other times, they say Adam means red earth. So that's why you hear me say blood of the earth. So what is the blood of the earth? It's the fiery magma.
Yeah.
And therefore it is creation, the essence of creation, right? So man, meaning that it's the real word is moon. It means creation. It's typifying creation. And so when he said, I just saw this morning, after all these years, it's amazing how it finally pops out at you. So when, because the words are becoming more reinforced in my mind, the vortex of the theme is getting more clear. And so when it said, let us make man in our image, that's Yahweh speaking to Yeshua, Yeshua, who is the great Elohim, who is the the essence, the feminine by nature, because Yeshua becomes physical, is physical creation as well. The atom, the first atom, is Yeshua. But so what it really said, it didn't say let us make man in our image, because man is a false idea in the original thought. It is let us make creation in our image. Whoa. Of course.
Yeah.
I already knew that, but I didn't get it in the scripture. It well, that's how they trick us, you see. Let us make creation. All of creation
Yes.
is in the image of Yahweh,
Yes.
the one who instituted all things, right?
Thank you, Desert. That's what I was reading earlier. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well.
And so, yeah, and
Yeah.
so then as it would continue, let us make creation in our image and after our, and I don't have the book open now, but so I don't remember, after our likeness. But no, not after our likeness. You see, remember, these are all modern words, and they're going from an ancient word to a modern. And plus, the code has already been, altered. Everything's been put on the sacred altar of transformation, so that we don't have originals. We only have what the priesthood has given us. So we've really got to see deeply. So let us make creation in our image, and after, not our likeness, but after our qualities, or singular quality, after our quality. And so, and then, which implies then, and intent. And let this message then be prevalent, because they put a message within all of the cosmic theme.
Yeah.
Within, from the stars to the planets to the creatures, they all tell a story. Like the dandelion, the story of the dandelion. What does that mean? The judgment of the lion. The judgment of the lion. What's the judgment of the lion? What? And like if you looked at a dandelion, every day it opens up to this beautiful yellow flower, and then it closes, and then at night, and then it opens again, and then finally, after maybe, I don't know how long, a month or less, then all of a sudden one night, when it closes, that your beautiful little yellow flower looks like the sun, the dandelion, the judgment of the lion. What is the lion? The lion is the sun. The sun is the fiery lion. The lion in the jungle has all that fur around its head.
Yeah.
It's female, because the female has the long hair, but yet the lion has both the female aspect, and so he's the big, fiery representative of the sun, that lion that will pounce upon you and drink your blood. Brings terror, and that's the fire of the sun in that metaphor. So don't want to lose my thought here. Where was I going? The dandelion opens up, and then it closes, and it closes then for 3 days and 3 nights, symbolic of Yeshua being in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights, and on the 4th day, it then opens up again, and what do we see? Do we see the yellow flower? No, we see this perfectly round puffball of seeds.
Yes.
That if you blow on it, it takes off to the wind, right? And that's the symbol
Yes.
of the moon, the seed of the moon.
Wow.
That is mankind.
That's nature
That is
speaking.
creation.
That's nature telling us the story.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I assume you have dandelions in Australia.
We have lots of dandelions in
Lots of them,
Australia.
Okay. Yeah, and of course you can eat good dandelion salad. I've eaten that when I was on the road hitchhiking around America. That was one of my staples.
Yep, I've never tried it.
Coffee, other food.
Yeah, I've never tried it, but I have heard that it's very good for you.
Well, survival food if you got nothing else, and that may be coming up, So
Yeah.
So the message is prevalent. You see, that's just one example of infinite number of messages within all of nature. It speaks of naturally the feminine, the creation would speak of the Great Father, who makes all things, the Spirit, the Great Spirit. It's all a message is locked within. That's the way it was designed. So that's why people associate the stars with what's happening as some type of cosmic theology, I think they call it. But they deny the Spirit and even the fact that Yeshua came. They're just saying, no, it's not a real story, because it's all just this story about Jesus is a story about a takeoff on what's happening cosmologically, and they don't get it. Microcosm, macrocosm. Naturally, the macrocosm of creation, the message in the stars would be about the one who would come at the end of time into the center of the earth, which is Yeru'ah Shalom. If Yeshua doesn't exist, then then Jerusalem doesn't exist. Israel never existed, but we know that's not true. So that's how they cleverly create the deception of, well, this story is just a mythological hoax, And but for anyone who's thinking, anyone who has eyes to see, it can't hold water, because we have all the evidence in the contrary, actually. And then so the word Asia, getting back to that word Asia, because in there it also was referring to the element of the female again, and it's the Asia. The Asia is literally, therefore, this creation, which is the royal eye, but we can also call it the eye of royalty. You see, we have an eye of royalty. We've been given an eye, an inner eye, the outer eye, which is double, meaning we can see things two ways, and like he says, if your eyes are not focused, you'll have double vision. But if you focus, you see one with one eye. That's what we have to do. We have to focus, and so it's a royal eye. We have the ability to see that we are inherently of a royal line. We were made by the one who made the entire cosmos, and so the Aisha, as we know in the word Fascia, means the face of the sun, and so you were also have a face, and it's the face of the sun, and that's why in the ancient time, if they said you were smiling, the way they would have said it would be, oh, well, why is your sun shining? What's going on? Your sun is shining because the head was the soul.
Yeah.
Is the soul.
Yeah.
S-O-L, not S-O-U-L, the corruption. S-O-L, meaning you are a star. Your head turns, pivots on your body, and it's turning. That's the skull. And skull means to steer, means to turn. That's what sculling means. When they got in a ship, in the smaller primitive time, they said they were sculling because they're steering the ship, and so your head is the star, and it pivots on your neck, and so the sun is the fascia, and then reverse it, and when he said to Keva, Eve, you are woman, the mother of all living, and he said, really, you are the Aisha Faith. You are the Aisha Faith, meaning again the sun, the mother of all living, the mother star, the sun. So in this, the definition I got out of this about the image of God was really profound, because in essence, Aisha, this is another definition, just like I gave one and several yesterday. Aisha also then means the medium or receptacle. Okay, the medium or receptacle. What? Your face, your fascia is a medium. You hear, you smell, you taste, you see. It's the receptacle of all creation. It is a star. It is a power force, like a computer that has infinite potential to transcend this world. So being the receptacle means that it can ultimately read that message in the stars. It can let us make creation in our image with our message, our quality, who and what we really are in the essence of our nature. This is strictly a projection of vibrations of sound that allows us to have pictures and to have a conveyance, meaning like an automobile, a house, that we can go along for the ride. Our spirit has to have this medium of exchange, and so the sun is the Aisha, or the medium. The sun, it represents the Father. It is between us and the Father. It is His logo, and so when we can then see that, because nobody ever sees it, it appears, because nobody ever talked about it to me. Nobody ever said the sun represents, the way back home. It's the tree of life. It's the great logo, the symbol of Yeshua. I've never had anybody tell me these things, and yet it's in the scriptures. But you got to be able to read the code to get the picture. And so your sun, the sun is the medium, and your fascia, your essence, your soul on top of your body is also a medium. It is the medium that can allow you to go back home if you focus your vision and pay attention and listen. You see.
Wow. Wow.
Focus, right?
Wow. Yep. I'm listening. I'm listening more than ever these days. Does it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're royalty. You see, we come from a royal family. Everyone, not, this is not the, because we talk about the Aryan thing, because of how the Aryan got here. It just includes, the story includes everybody. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're Chinese or African or Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal. It doesn't matter, because we are all made in the image of the great breath. We are not from this planet. What was Yeshua doing when he put the other races here first? That's his business. I can't define all of these things. What I imagine sometimes is that he was experimenting with the different races because he gave man free will. He wanted to see what man would do with his free will. But at the end, he knew he was going to save mankind. He didn't want to create somebody, a creation, without the answer of the remedy. So in the end, he provides the remedy, and he uses the Aryan race to do that. But it was for all the other creations as well. We look at animals and even insects. They all want to live, right? If what happens when the roach or the spider or whatever little creature, the lizard, when they see you, they go running, right? They go running because they want to preserve their life, and so it's all of life wants to be preserved. At least the mammals, the mammals, even fish, of course, even fish in the lower realm, they all want self-preservation. It's a natural mechanism for self-preservation, and but yet, isn't it interesting then when this mechanism, because I'm seeing it like for the first time as I'm saying it, with this mechanism of self-preservation, isn't it interesting that man has forfeited his own eternal destiny?
Yeah.
And instead decided he'd rather play computer games.
Yep.
And live a lie.
Yep. You just made me think of a couple of years ago, Pokemon Go, where people were walking straight off cliffs and across roads in front of traffic, looking for imaginary Pokemon. Pokemon. Yeah. Killing themselves, looking for something on a screen. Yeah. I mean, wow. I'm wowing that, because just thinking about it again, like, I saw people here, like, how they were acting, and there was no regard for anything. There was nothing there. They were blank. Yeah, there was just no regard for anything. They didn't care where they went to find these imaginary Pokemon. They were completely brain dead. They walk in front of cars and everything. It's
Well, they knew they had to capture our minds as early as possible, because the baby's mind is at the highest apex for development and receiving information. It's designed that way, and so what are the first thing they get us doing? They get us sitting in front of the television and being fed all the cartoons. Of course, cartoons being for the little ones. And so what are all these cartoons about? Violence.
Yeah.
Right? These cartoon characters hit each other over the head with a 2x4.
Yeah. Even
or shoot each other with
Bugs
the gun,
Bunny,
and then they don't die. They get right back up. That's what a fantasy.
Yeah. All the ones I used to watch. Now that I think about it, Bugs Bunny was one of my favorites. All the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, loony. They want us to be loony. See, rather than teach us ethics, could you imagine they could have taken the entire writings of Aesop's fables and created beautiful, metaphorical stories to teach us about life, and about responsibility, and capture our minds that way. But instead, they give us all this stupid stuff, and Darth Vader, who wants to run the world, always that mad scientist who's trying to conquer the world, and it's actually a reflection on them,
Yes.
one after another. all
Yeah.
these years, you know.
Yeah. On
Yeah.
on repeat. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is no direction, you know, towards enlightenment or towards our true nature. It's a denial of our true nature. It's to capture us, so that then once they get us on that algorithm, then at that point they can make us good soldiers or good policemen that will obey orders and not question, and learn the law. You know, what is the law? You know, cops don't know the law. They follow protocol, public policy, and orders. They don't need to know the law. You know, there is no law actually. Public policy. So yeah, we're in. I guess we got to try to shift gears and get back to religion now because
we kind of veered off.
Yeah. Well, of course, we're being run by a religion, and maybe we should start there because it's Luciferian, and the Luciferian religion. You know, I had told a friend several months back when I got the you know, I got several new translations of scriptures and the best ones, you know, like Farrar Fenton, and I got this one up in from Montana. I'll give out the website. It's Sepher, CEPHER.org or .com or info. Just check them out. But you'll see this Bible that was done up in Montana. I think it's Sepher.com and CEPHER. And what an amazing work this gentleman did up you know, up north of us. And he even has in there the Book of Jasher and the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Enoch, First Enoch, and the missing chapter of Acts. All of that is in this fantastic work. It's a $100 book, you know, because it's so big, and it's like it's as big as a big dictionary, you know. It's a collector's item, but also he attempted to put back original terminology. He didn't go into all the words. That would have been too much. But he did what he felt were the most important words and redid them. But so I just wanted to give a promotion for that because you know, I respect them so much for the effort they put out. So I acquired, and so in there, as well as in Fenton, as well as in another version I have. I don't remember off the top of my head which one, but I have 3 witnesses now of translations that say emphatically that the word Lucifer is not in the scriptures, you see. And it's the same with the 666 thing as well.
Yeah.
You know, that the number 6 is there, but not 3. And so it is all evidence, of course, that, as I've been saying all along, the priesthood has manipulated and taken over our scriptures, and therefore they put their dirt in there.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, whatever trick or trap or trade they want to play. And so they put in there the word Lucifer in the Old Covenant book, and it's not there. So I tell a friend, you know, I tell a longtime friend and say, you know, you're never going to guess, but guess what? They you know, the word Lucifer is not in our scriptures. It never was, and they put it in there. And so his first response was, "Well, I believe it anyway."
No.
Like, geez, you know, get a gun, shoot yourself in the head. You know, you believe it anyway. Believe, you know, I talk about the word believe, meaning I give a little credit to anything.
Just the whole response.
But this is the problem I have with some of my friends.
Yeah.
See, they're so caught up in the dogma, into the indoctrination that they got from the beginning, that they can't possibly wrap their mind around the fact that they've been lied to.
Yeah, they're stuck in that mindset.
Wholesale.
Yeah.
Wholesale. Yeah, I proved it.
Yeah.
In other words, if I'm proving something, he saw me, he used to be in my house and see me working on my books nonstop and the pile of 3x5 cards with all my notes, my dedication, my library. He saw it all with his own eyes, and still he gives no credit to me because he's the Sunday. He's the 45 minutes on Sunday. Don't tell me anything else. I don't want to have to work or figure anything out, you know, because then it might be take a little responsibility on my part. You know, I want to be told I'm going to heaven. I don't want to, you know, in heaven, of course, as we know, is the darkness. That's the code word for the even, and the even is the evening, and that's when the sun goes down, and that's why got everybody wanted to go to heaven to the evening. You know, they don't know the code. The H is the. So it's an amazing trick. You know, so getting on with Lucifer here. So Lucifer is an idea. We find the idea of Lucifer in the Freemasonic handbook from the 1800s by Albert Pike called Morals and Dogma. You know, there's your word dog. That's where the word dog comes from. And dogma means they're the mother's dogs, and dog backwards, as we know, is God. But the dogs are the priesthood. They're the priests. That's why they put dog tags on all the military, because they're dogs working for the Vatican and the priesthood. Dogs, you know, the dog tags, and so that's why they made a cartoon talking about cartoons called, you know, with Deputy Dog, Augie and I remember Augie and Deputy Dog, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, I remember the Deputy Dog. I never used to watch it, but I remember that. I remember those words.
Deputy Dog, sure, because the deputies are also the dogs. They get the fire chief and the sheriff and a couple of the deputies into the Freemasonry, and they're the dogs. They'll do the bidding. They'll violate law. They'll commit a crime. They'll commit murder for their master.
Yeah.
You know, while wear their tin badges and their starched white shirts. You know. So Lucifer comes out of Morals and Dogma. That's where we find it. And while all of these, you know, new recruits into Freemasonry all are told, well, you've got to believe in God. You know, you can't be a member of Freemasonry unless you believe in God.
Such hypocrites.
You know, and so, okay, you believe in God, must be grateful, huh? You know, although they don't tell us who God is, and it's not our original word. It's not a word we would want association with when we know the truth. So then they say, yeah, we got the Quran, we got the Torah, and we got the Bible. So come on in, because you know it's all one God. That's a big lie.
Yeah.
That's as big a lie as there ever was one, because we can define the nature of all things, and define the nature of Elohim versus the nature of Yahweh, and also the nature of God. They all have a different nature and are distinct in their quality and in who and what and where they really are. And that's why they gave us one generic term called God, because then we would never figure it out. We wouldn't even question it. No? You know? And of course, Lord God, then, you know, so Lord, oh, Lord is nice, and I'm a nice word. But of course, when we go back into its etymology in English, we find out Lord is the mother who gave us our bread, and the mother who gives us our bread, our Lord, is India, because that's where the Eastern Star of Freemasonry winds up. The Eastern Star implies India, and the Star of David, which comes out of India, has nothing to do with Tava, which is the original name for David. But anyway, so going back into you know, the book of Morals and Dogma. So morals, you know, they want us to have morals. Even when we read John Bunyan, or I think it was John Bunyan. I want to say Paul Bunyan, but I can't remember now. But he wrote Pilgrim's Progress, John Bunyan, and so even in his story, he talked about going down the wrong road, and one of the wrong roads was the road of morals. So they knew back then the meaning of the word, and so morals was the wrong road, because it was like going into depravity. And so moral. Let's look at the word on its surface. I want more. I want it all. Right? Give me what you got. I'm taking what you got. I don't care whether you like it or not. I got a gun. I'm going to take what you got. You know, that's the banksters. That's the system, the sewer system called government that has attached a claim on everything you've ever owned, including your body and your right to freedom. And so they want more, and they want it all, and they got it all. You got nothing when they're done with you. In fact, they'll take away your freedom, put you on Wall Street in a prison, Wall Street prison, and make $30,000 a month off your birth certificate. And they don't care how long you stay in there. They know you didn't do anything wrong. That's slavery, modern slavery, brought to you by International Freemasonry and the Jewish banking and the Vatican. And then let's not forget the Hindu Brahmin priesthood orchestrating it all from the beginning of time, who gave us the caste system. So in Morals and Dogma, I know you love the way I go down all these sidebars, right, Ninja?
Yes, I do. I do.
I'm getting good at this in my old days.
I love it. You get so sidetracked, and then bam, you're straight back to the main topic.
I didn't even have a senior moment yesterday. I'm amazed, but I'm getting motivated. You're getting me in my rhythm by doing this every day.
That's good. Glad I could help.
You can tell how depressed I would be if I can't talk to anybody, right?
Yeah. No, I'm loving it. Glad I could help. I'm quite happy sitting here sipping on my lukewarm coffee, listening to you get sidetracked.
Well, I love hitting the beast right between the eyes.
Yes.
Because they are a beast, and these people that want to participate in it, they deserve all the torture they ever gave to anybody throughout history. The torture that people have been put through, is an amazing. These cops and sheriff's departments. Not all of them, okay? Because I've met good people in all of these.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Institutions. But we're talking about the criminals, the Masons, and they have no problem framing. All the stories I heard over and over and over, where the policeman went on the stand and he lied, outright lied, and injured decent Americans. It's endless. It is endless. They are sworn in their oath of in the Jews society, the oath called Nidre, where they take a vow to annul all other vows every year. That any vow I take, any lie I make, will be dissolved, repealed, as if it never happened. They gave themselves a license by taking one vow called Nidre to do anything they want to do after that. Anything's open. And the same with Freemasons, that they take a vow to protect their fellow Mason, to prevaricate, to pretend they don't know the details, to anything, and even unto murder. They need to protect their brotherhood.
Desert.
And so these people are sellouts. They sold out mankind for a perk and a power trip. They're better than everybody else when they're actually the scum of the earth.
Yeah, you made me think of something.
I like hitting it right between the eyes.
I know you do. You made me think of something. When I was doing a lot of research related to Skull and Bones and all the secret societies, Bohemian Grove, where they have the. Sorry, I don't mean to. This isn't gonna sound very good. The big owl statue they have there.
Well, I get a bad rap for that guy.
Yeah, I know. That's another like.
I didn't even know Moloch was an owl when I took on the metaphor Dezert-Owl in 1980.
Well, that's another twisted truth. Yeah, but anyway, how they all
don't know how to talk to me.
How they all gather. How they all gather out there for their rituals. The first thing they do is have a big ceremony, and I don't want to call them prayers. They chant and sing. I don't know. We'll call it.
They have an order.
Yeah, but the first one they do is. Yeah, the first one they do is to kind of make it okay.
They're worshiping a midsummer night.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain. It was a while ago. Yeah, it dismisses. It's like what you were saying. It kind of gives them permission to commit all these horrific things, and not have to worry. Like, if I ever did something horrendous to another human being, it would weigh me down for the rest of my life, like on my conscience. Where this ceremony, I think it's called a care ceremony. They do this ceremony so that they don't have to worry about that sort of thing being on their conscience. Conscience. Oh, it's getting late. I can't speak. Do you know what I mean? Like, they waive all responsibility. They, yeah.
Sure.
They have a ceremony for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about ritual. You see, it's all about ritual. All of them are engaged in rituals. That's what we're talking about. Is the since we're talking about religions, we're going to talk about the most important one, which is the antithesis to the truth. They're the controllers. They're the puppets. They're all, of course, they're all lower echelon puppets. They are not power brokers. They got funny money in the bank. Sure, they got a lot of money, but they're heads of corporations or presidents or they're secretaries and all these other titles. But they're all pawns in the game because they're not we don't see the real power brokers. We don't know their names. We'll never see their face. That is the unseen hand. They are the ones who work for the unseen hand and the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthood. But when we saw Trump surrounded by three Jesuit priests, a couple guys that look Hindu, and a couple women, and and a few other people, that was the closest we'll ever get to seeing the faces of the power broker behind the government called the United States, all capital letters, because the ship of state that they're pulling out now. They pulled in for a couple hundred years. They're pulling out the ship of state now. But to get back to morals and dogma, so in there, at one point, after, as they indicated, I think yesterday, they described in there how they were going to have 3 world wars. Actually, it was in the late 1800s, so 30 years before World War I, they predicted to have a world war, and that there'd be 3 of them, and that Islam would be used to destroy Christianity in the Third World War. But in there, he also makes a profound statement beyond, we wage all revolutions. They're so proud of the fact that they wage all bloodshed and mayhem. So meaning, like when you're seeing in Europe the yellow shirts, I don't know what they call them, they put on their vest, the yellow vest.
Yeah, the yellow vest.
That's all, none of it's grassroots. It's always orchestrated.
Yeah.
Any of these big demonstrations are always orchestrated by Freemasons. That's why the cops will stand down and let it happen, let them commit crime right in front of them. I thought they were here to serve and protect, and stop crime, and yet the cops will stand there and allow the crime to be committed. So therefore, they must be endorsing it if they stand down. Because people that do that type of stuff in society actually deserve to be shot, and it's okay if they get killed because they would do it to you. You see, they would kill you if they had their way, and so those people don't deserve to live. But yet the police are there to make sure that they can perpetuate it. But anyway, in Morals and Dogma, then our fight makes a profound statement, and he says our God is Lucifer, but it's really goddess. It's feminine, but yet he says our God is Lucifer. Doubt it not. And that's when I think it's in the 32nd degree. So nobody learns until they get to the 32nd degree that their God is Lucifer. Doubt it not.
Wow.
All along they were thinking they were Christian or believe in God, but nobody knows the meaning of God.
Yeah.
Or nobody studies anything. They just love cartoons.
Yeah.
I was amazed one day when I was driving truck cross country back in 1997, and I had to go to get a truck repair, my 18-wheeler in Indianapolis, Indiana, and so I take my truck to the truck stop, and then they're going to have it for a few hours. So I walk into the break room where all the truckers are. Have a television, and I go in there, and it's a big break room. It's like 50 people in there, and it's packed, and I can't get over it. But they're all watching television, and guess who's on television? Bart Simpson. You got a bunch of adults watching Bart Simpson,
Yep.
and just soaking it up.
Yep.
And I could never watch Bart Simpson. I may have watched only those clips that expose, when they're making the predictive programming in there. I'll watch something. I never watched the Bart Simpson program in my life and couldn't
stand
do
it. And those other ones, the American Dad, and there's another one that's really
I've never played a computer game in my life. I don't have the patience for that nonsense. I'll play a game of chess if somebody wants to do that. I like a game of concentration, but I'm amazed that I've been so busy hitting books and reading and figuring out the way the world operates. They got everybody on little Tinker Toy and cartoons, and that's all they can relate to. All they can relate to. So that explains why my friend, when I call him and tell him, that Lucifer is not even in our scriptures, and I now have 3 of the best translations that have ever come out, to show the most ancient documents, not original. There are no originals. The most ancient Greek and Hebrew that Lucifer is not in our scriptures. Oh, well, I believe it anyway. Okay, good for you. Let me see where I'm going. Okay, so the point is I'm trying to define the Luciferian occult, which is because we're talking about religion. So you see, so in other words, so Lucifer, therefore, is nothing Lucy, and because she is a female, and because Lucy is creation, and represented by the moon. Remember, they said the moon has two sides, but it doesn't mean two sides; it means two natures. And in other words, there's the good side and the bad side. There's the beautiful moon that we all see and love. We've looked at all of our lives, and it's always fun to watch the full moon. But then there's the dark side of the moon that we refer to, and the dark side is the occult love the moon for their great symbol, and not the sun. They pretend the light. They pretend the sun. The Freemason always says to his little echelon, "What do you want, my son?" And he's supposed to say, "Oh, Grand Poobah, I want more light. Please give me more light." And so let me give you a little token here, little boy. Go ahead, take this token. Here's the meaning of this symbol, by the way. Here it is. Let me tell you. And then what he just did, he just lied to him. He told them, well, originally we told you the symbol means this, but now I'm going to tell you a secret. The symbol really means this. But yet, that's still not what the symbol means. You see, so they get him, keep him on a string. You control information, and therefore they got to come to the Grand Poobah and kiss his big toe to get more information, to be enlightened. Give me more light, Grand Poobah. And I'm so grateful that Yeshua, I only needed Yeshua to get the light, and didn't have to go to some piece of garbage, filthy, stinking liar, phony, illuminated, to get my light. But I would have been in full darkness, and they are, you see. And so Lucifer, therefore, is nothing more. Not because as we read in the ancient scriptures, Yeshua says, "There is none besides me, no, not one. I am the one."
Yeah.
See, and that there's nothing there in the darkness. It's a void. It's empty. And so all of the demons and the dark, all of these things that go bump in the night are all in our heads. They've been put there by the occultists. And so the same with Lucifer, then, because people actually think devil, demon, Satan, Lucifer are all sort of like the same thing.
They're all the same thing.
They can't even define one of those words.
Yeah.
And I do that. That's how we find the true nature, by defining the words. And so Lucifer is an idea, and it's an idea that was instituted by the fallen Vekaresh, the Watchers, fell, and they contracted together and said, "We will do this thing." And so they know that the earth is feminine, and the moon is feminine, and the sun is feminine. That was the virgin. The moon represents the whoredom, the fallen light, and that's why they embraced the moon. That's why their goddess in front of the courthouse, holding the balances in her hand, has a blindfold on. Do you have courthouses in Australia with a goddess with a blindfold on?
I'm trying to think now, because I don't often go near courthouses.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna look on Google Maps and see if there's any around the city.
Yeah.
See if there's any around Canberra.
Right, because in America it may be exclusive to America. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a look.
Because this is their new creation,
Yeah.
But in front of the courthouse, like right out 2 blocks away from me, there's a woman who represents Columbia and represents Lucifer, and she's got a blindfold on, and right there, and she represents the courthouse wearing a blindfold.
Right in front of everybody, hidden in plain sight.
Holding balances of justice.
Yeah.
And yet, how can you look at the balances if you cannot see?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that is their blind goddess, because the moon has no light. It's a blind eye, and that's why in the movies, very often you'll see them covering one eye, or the eye has been split out and it looks like it's blind, like in the The Exorcist, right in the beginning, where they're in Iraq. This guy's hammering steel, and he turns and he looks at Max von Sydow in the restaurant, drinking, Turkish coffee, and the guy has one eye put out, and that's occultic, showing that they're on the dark side.
Yeah.
And
all the celebrities do that now, with their covering the one eye. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Lucifer is an idea that they instituted. It's a cultural, event, and so it's like a corporation. You know, you write the articles of the incorporation, and then it takes a life of its own. It is a corpus body, and therefore it will live beyond you, the one who made it, and it continues on. And so Lucifer is a culture that is a serpent culture, and because the serpent is the prime symbol of creation, including the flesh of our body, the serpent we put on every day, the shirt and the pants, shirt pants, and so this Luciferian idea then is based upon symbols and ideas that they then institute in rituals to initiate, bring people in, and then also to go to different degrees and different levels of initiation, further to the core of the onion, to the deep darkness that they're really all about, where we find out that when people then get initiated in the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, the next thing, they find themselves in a cave somewhere, eating the flesh of a virgin, and that's when they go home and kill themselves, because they didn't know that they were a part of this dark ritual of human sacrifice and blood drinking and rape and pillage and plunder and murder. I thought it was all a game, a kid's game, because they're into kids' games. You know? They were just boys that never grew up. But instead, it was about power and control and the ultimate head trip. So this idea, this Luciferian idea, then comes down through time, and the only way we can ever see it manifested is in people, because people carry the ball of Lucifer, and they keep the corporation alive. And so the only way we can see the woman is in men who wear the dresses, and so the Luciferian woman is the priest who wears the long robe, classically in the Scottish Rite, who wears the kilts, and the argyle, the stripes that are on the kilt are the lines that go horizontally, vertically across each other, and it means that all the crossroads belong to them. And so they keep the ball rolling by initiation into these occult societies, you see. And so Lucy fire. So let's talk about who is Lucifer in nature. In other words, beyond the physical and beyond the occultic men who keep the ball rolling. It is Lucifer, as we see Lu, L-O-O means protector, protection, Lu, in English, and Cipher is Setfer. Cipher, so Lucifer then is the code. So the woman at the core of this idea is the code that they live by. And so we can talk about dress code, but then we could talk about the cyber code of the Eshavors, the words, because they control the diction, therefore they control the code, because Lucifer is the code. Their protection is by living by their code, you see? And so the words are code, they control the words, they can claim to be the engineers of our world, the Vatican and the Freemasons and Jewish banking, and so it's the tripartite collective, where some people think it's the Queen of England, some think it's the Jews, some think it's the Bilderbergs, but it's all of them collectively together, the Lucifer, working in the code of the layers of the onion of this phony religious state, the ultimate phony religious state that claims the light and has nothing to do with light, and it's everything to do with the deepest darkness that this planet has ever witnessed.
Yeah.
You get the picture?
I get the picture. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
It's bad.
It is.
It's real bad. That's why you get away with committing mass genocide in Paradise, California, and nobody can stop it, because they have fine-tuned their Luciferian code of operation.
Yeah, they can do anything. The Masonic
Lodge didn't burn down.
Yeah.
I was hoping it did.
Yeah, would have been nice. Yeah, I was appalled when you told me that. That the Masonic Lodge was still standing. I have a question. You just reminded me. I meant to ask it last night. You were talking about the Paradise fires, and the directed energy weapons and aluminium. I was having a conversation regarding frequencies and the heavy metals in the air and heat, and was told, I think it's the obelisk in Washington, the big one. You know that big one?
The big what in Washington? I'm sorry?
The big obelisk at the end of that. I don't know. I haven't studied Washington very well.
Yeah. The fountain in between the Capitol and the obelisk, or the Washington Monument. There's a long fountain. That's the female, and the male is the Washington Monument.
Yeah. Well, apparently, the top of it, the little pyramid shape at the top of it is aluminium, covered in aluminium. And
okay.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking,
Well, it stands for illumination. Stands for illumination.
Yeah, and also false aliens, Independence Day with their beams and things like that. I don't know. It just got me thinking, like, wild, crazy connections with what's possibly to come and what they're saying, to what they've been telling us with their programs. And then I suddenly hear that there's aluminium on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's true, because I've been in the Washington Monument, and they show pictures of the placing of the very last stone.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, it was always a stone. So so I'll have to go look. But
yeah, I might have a look too.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. So this world religion then that they've instituted is now the World Federation. They got their secret armies that are work underground. They are an unannounced military, just like the Freemasons in every community of the world is an unannounced military that works by degrees. And if you don't follow orders, you're in trouble. But then they've got a real army, a World Federation, that fly anti-gravity craft that are in underground bases, big time. Okay, it's humongous. It is. The people are just. You have no idea what. There is a secret underground military, a force, a squadrons. There are squadrons of anti-gravity craft that are waiting to come out of the ground around the world, where they get their marching orders, and boom, they all come out, and that's when they're going to all use their ray gun, and some people are going to bow down and worship their Luciferian Christ to come out of the spaceship, like Christ needed a spaceship to fly in, right?
Yeah.
But they think that somehow, their Savior, who made them in a test tube, is coming back for them. And but the only thing he's coming back with is an energy ray that's going to explode their house and burn them alive. And that's what's coming. The Paradise is the precursor of that, because I saw the anti-gravity craft in the sky. One of them given a blue energy pulse beam that was coming down, not a straight ray, but a pulse energy pulse that would look like waves on an ocean coming out from it and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like the circles in a lake, when you drop a pebble in a lake, just getting bigger and bigger. It was really, really surreal. Really surreal. So I saw it, and I know that what that meant, that they're getting ready now. And when, because people are so busy watching cartoons, they'll actually think that when they see these anti-gravity craft, that they're really, from outer space, when they're from inner space, from underground, and they've been with us from the beginning of recorded history since the Aryans came to planet Earth. Not in spaceships, but made by Yahweh and Elohim for the free will that he gave us. They gave us a choice to participate in the scan, to be good order followers, or to wake up to what we really are, and to transcend this world, because it's not our world. It was the place we didn't want to be, but we had to wake up to it first, instead of buy into it and think this is the best thing since sliced bread. So continuing on in religion, then we can
I love how
talk
you
about
go back. Yeah. Sorry.
what is that?
I love how you get so I'm not going to say sidetracked. You get so engrossed.
Side trail.
And no. You're speaking from the heart, and you get so into it, and then suddenly you're back at the original subject. It's just,
Well, we
it
have
cracks me up.
to get back to, otherwise we're not going to have a program
Yeah.
here. And so the religion then is, the serpent culture. The serpent is, the foundation of this idea. In fact, I was reading a book last night. I'm trying to remember where I saw it, but it said that. Let me see. I think the book is right here next to me. Let me see here. Hang on. This is a great quote, and I hope I can find it. That's not it. Okay, I think it's over here. Hang on. That's not it. Maybe it's over here. This is this buying box too. Okay, well, without being able to find it, I'm going to try to just paraphrase it. I'm going to try one more time to look.
I was just about to say, please stand by.
Yeah, please stand by. Technical. Okay, wait a minute. I think I found it. Here it is. Okay. It's in the book by, it's called Figures of Speech, used in the Bible by E.W. Bullinger. The guy was a genius. He wrote 10 books in the 1800s. And so here it is, okay? He's talking about the mysteries and secrets. Mysterion in the Greek means secret, and later it came to mean a secret sign or symbol. Justin Martyr, AD 148, says that in all false religions, the serpent was represented as a great symbol and mystery. Okay, so there's your serpent cult. It was the number one symbol. And what happened in the wilderness? When people were being stung with the sting of death by the scorpions, those wonderful Freemasons and serpents, then they were all dying in pain. And then Moshe was told to put a serpent onto a cross and to go around the camp, and anybody who could see the serpent would live, you see. And so to see the serpent means to see everything.
Yeah.
It's to see who we are. It's to see the nature of the world.
Yep.
It's to see the nature of the occult, the serpent cult. Go ahead.
I'm just agreeing with you. I'm seeing it like as you're saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we can live.
Yeah.
Then we could live.
Yeah.
We are the illusion from that standpoint.
Yeah.
We have to wake up to what it is we cannot see, and that is the quality of our nature, the true quality of our nature that is infinite.
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing for us to see.
That explains some weird stuff that I've been seeing lately, Desert. I think I've told you a little bit about it. Yeah.
So this occult serpent put themselves in our book.
Yeah.
They put themselves in our scriptures. They took full control of our scriptures, and I think this is the best evidence for it. in the fact that they, like when they came back from Babylon, then the priesthood brought back the Babylonian Talmud with them. And that's why all those customs that the Pharisees and Sadducees were following were so contradictory to original Israel. That it was a total another ball game. That's why they crucified the Mashiach, because it was a different ball game. If it were true Israel, true Israel, then they would have accepted the Mashiach, but they didn't want the Mashiach. It was a commerce game. They're making money, they're controlling the people, and the party's great, and don't mess with the game, And so what happened when they came back from Babylon? They brought back the Babylonian Talmud. They're going to have the original Israel was now gone. The original Israel was demolished by Yahweh in 730 BC, and then Utah was then banished to Babylon in circa 500 BC. And so for all practical purposes, Israel was over as a state and a nation from that point on. And what's called Israel today is pseudo-Israel. They have nothing to do with, the original. It is a political state, and it is a cover. Their religion is a cover for their Shivaism and their Babylonian Talmud. So we not lose my train of thought here. Okay, so what happened when they came back from Babylon is then the priesthood says, well, Yahweh is so sacred of a name that we really shouldn't be saying it all the time, because we'd be using it in vain. So therefore, I think we better change it to Adonai. If we change it to Adonai, then we can use it all the time, not a problem. And so that's what we're going to do, and we hope you like it. Okay, thank you very much. And so they switched out the sacred name of the one who made all things, the great Father of light, Yahweh, and changed him into Adonai. And Adonai pronounced Donai, because the A is the vowel or consonant, and it's a symbol of the sun. And the dawn, as we know, is when the sun comes up, and the I is the circle of the sun itself, the I. So Donai means the sunrise, and so they now we're using what most people pronounce it Adonai. And so as if we read like in Will Durant, The History of Civilization, or other books, we'll find out that Adonai was also the Phoenician god that demanded blood. So
I know that word. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So the priesthood of Israel are riding on the ship with the Phoenicians as the priesthood, just like later on in time it was the Catholic priest with the merchant ships of England or whatever, the Dutch fleet or whatever, Portuguese or Spanish or you name it, always have the Catholic priest on there because the priesthood is running the world. And so they change out the sacred name to Yahweh, but Adonai. But Adonai backwards is India. Just adjust one letter and you got India. There's the sunrise. That's where the sun rises first in the east. And that's the hallmark of India, is Adonai. Because, as I say, the ancient Aryan Hindus have been running the world. The Brahmins have been running the world. Brahmin, Hindu, Buddha, don't matter, okay? It's a clique. There is no pure tradition. All the traditions are run by the corrupt, occultic servant cult of the priesthood, and they gave us a type of religion. But as I started in the beginning, I said we have to come out, from these false traditions into the true light. You got Baskin-Robbins, 600 forms of Christianity. You can have it your way, or you can come out and have it the way that it is, the truth, without the darkness, the light without the darkness. So they say switch out Adonai, and that's India. Then the Angles, who are the Teutonic Knights, who are the pure line Aryan, were known as Titans in the Greek culture. They were also Aryan, which represents the highest creation, which is again the Aryan. They known as Angles as time because they're anglers and hookers, but it also represents the letter V, as we see it on the stripes of all the military. They all wear the V. The tank has a V on it. The V is everywhere because the V is about virgin creation, but they made the virgin into a whore, and they even doubled the V to create a W, get it to double V, and that's another way they distort the code and confuse things. Then let me not lose my train of thought here. Okay, so they're the angles. And the Anglo. You see, it mean, you know, you can hear the word glow in there for the glowing of the sun, the light, the illuminated, you know, Aryan. And the angle is the V, is the V, also known as a chevron, which that goes back to the number 7 for 7 days of the week of creation. And so they take out the word Malek, and they put in the word angel. They put in the word angel in our scriptures, and the word angel was never in there. And it's a pure and direct reference, just like Adonai represents India, angel represents the Anglo-Saxons, the pure Aryan line of the Teutonic Knights. And then the word Judah, which is correctly Utah, but Judah is then taken out, and they supplement it with Jews. The word Jew, the Khazar Jews, the word Jew never existed until 1,000 years ago, and yet now they got the word posted in our scriptures as being the original word for Judah, J-E-W. There never was a J. A J did not exist 200 years ago. The W didn't exist 200 years ago. I read the other day out of the dictionary from the 1700s by Samuel Johnson. He said the W does not exist. It has never existed in any main cultural alphabet. Okay, but so J-E-W, take out 2 letters, and the E is a corruption. The word doesn't exist in nature, and yet it's a code, and they put it in there, and that's why Jew backwards is wedge, because they're the wedge in our society to disrupt things that are going down, and they run banking. You know, so they switch out Judah and turn it into Jew, and so there's your banking, and now they got it. The word Jew going so far back, even Abraham is a Jew now. You know, and you know even Pharaoh is probably a Jew. You know, according to their reckoning. You know so now we got Hindu, India, we got Aryan, Anglo, we got Aryan, Jew, and what's the other word? I'm sure there's one more. Well, of course, God. You know, they switched out Elohim, which is the force of creation, the light of creation, and which is the conscious. The one is Yeshua. Yeshua is the great Elohim, and they change it into God. So we never get the picture of our elder brother, who has all power. All power was given unto him. He is the only loved seed. He is the Son of light, and all things move because of him. He is at the heart and at the center. They changed his title, Great Elohim, into God, and then of course they change Yahweh into Lord in modern English when it's Adonai in the corrupted text, and so that's how the game is played. So you got 3 cultures in there. You got Hindu, Aryan, Brahmin, priesthood. You got Aryan, Anglo-Saxon, angels, and Adonai, and then God and Jews. All supplemented, put their names in our book. Never were there ever. Okay, and so that's the best evidence I could give for the switch out. Then I can talk about all the other lies and the code words that they put in there. It's as if nobody's ever actually read the scriptures that they claim to embrace. Ninja, basically, it's so profoundly destroyed and corrupted. That's why this discussion goes on continually. With this interview that we do, because we have to go back to original. Yeah. We have to find the original.
Yeah, it's endless.
And the priesthood with the code, the cipher, Lucifer, their code, their protector, is within all of our writings now. And so the only way to get back is to go past it by the symbol, to identify the original symbols, the alpha, not the beta. Beta is a code. B does not exist. The letter B is a V. They switched it out. And the same with the C is really a G. They switched it out. The C still exists. It's still a symbol of the moon. But we have to identify with the letters that don't belong in the alphabet. Then we have to find the meaning of these symbols, the code. And once we know the meaning of the symbol, then it begins to tell us a story. And then when we combine them together, we get a bigger parent root of the story. And that's really how it is. So Yeshua got me past what the priesthood controls, which is the Hebrew and the Greek and the English, but to go back to what was breathed into Adam 8,000 years ago, it's an unwritten script because there is no ancient writings other than what we might find on walls somewhere. There are aspects of this alphabet found on caves and cliff dwellings and the sides of rocks and what have you around nature and around the world. But the alphabet only is a latecomer. When we talk about the Phoenician script or the what they call proto-Hebrew and all that, it's Aramaic, and the Aramaic script was perfected by Kabbalism, the Jewish Kabbalists, and it's on the American driver's license with the capital letters they call Phoenician alphabet, but it's really predates Phoenician, and it was free. It was free, and it was made up of the symbols of the stars and also of nature, like the V comes from the birds flying in V formation. The alpha is what Orion is pointing to with his bow and arrow. It's the pyramid, and they call it the bull, but that's a cover. You see, they fill this with bull because they don't want us to know that it's simply the pyramid, and that's why the first thing that all the ancient civilizations were convinced to build were pyramids, because they said, look up there, the Orion, he's pointing at that pyramid with his bow and arrow, and he's either going to shoot you with a bow and arrow, or you're going to start building a pyramid slave. And so everybody went to work building pyramids around the world, and that was where the priesthood hung out and dominated the world. Symbol of the light, symbol of the sun, symbol of creation. And so once we know the meaning of these symbols, then we can begin to define the positive terms and the negative terms, or the occultic terms like believe, which means give little credit to something. Because I don't believe anything. You see, I deal with knowing. It is possible to know. It's possible to know that you can know that you can know, and with an absolute knowing. You see, there was no Big Bang. The Big Bang never, happened. It's with the priesthoods lie, just like the flat Earth. It's the priesthoods lie. They got to disassociate us from any possible connection with the way things really are and the way things really happened in the beginning. Just like they got everyone thinking that the Earth was made in 24-hour, 6 24-hour periods, when it was 6 billion years, 6 great periods, and that's what it says in the scriptures. Period means great age. Yud. Yud is a dot. Dot represents the sun, and the period also represents, an age. And peri means great, like a pear. A pear is pregnant fruit. Fat at the bottom. Got pregnant. Takes 2 to make a pear. And it means great. Great.
Wow. Wow. Just, yeah.
All right, you can take over now. I need a voice break, okay? And,
yeah, I was gonna offer very soon, but I was letting you go because it's amazing, as usual.
I don't know where I was going with all that. Maybe I'll get my thoughts together here. I gotta just let you give out my information. We'll go with that for now.
Okay. You rest your voice for a bit, Desert. Okay. I have no words because I'm all wowing. Okay, Dezert-Owl has his own channel. It's the Forbidden History series. If you go back to June 21st this year, you can watch all the live streams that he has done over there. He goes into detail with what we've been talking about tonight. It's amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing. He explains the code in great detail, and you can catch up, you can learn everything. And if you want a copy of the real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, all the details are in the description under this live stream. You can contact Desert and give any size donation for any of the literature. Or if you don't have the money and you still want a copy, we'll be happy to send it to you. There's also the Book of Wisdom and the original, a sample of the original Gospel with a more up-to-date copy of the dictionary attached. You can go to the www.therealpublicradio.net. Again, that's www.therealpublicradio.net to donate. The link is in the description. You can also call Desert on 608-566-7295. That's 608-566-7295. Add a +1 at the front if you're international. Calling from Australia, for example. I think that's it. I don't think I've missed anything. I'll type we can't take calls on this program at the moment because we don't have the technology, unfortunately. But when Desert gets back on track with his computer, his live streams encourage people to call in with questions. If you have any questions for Desert, feel free to type them in the chat here. Type Desert in capital letters so that I can see it. And I will pass the question on. If you have any comments for Desert, same thing, just put Desert in capital letters just so I can see it. How you going, Desert?
I'm doing okay. Got my second win here, and I think it's probably time to wind it down. We're talking about religion, and we can't talk about translations, and we can't talk about religion unless we talk about the corruptions of the priesthood that have taken over the world. The scripture says that the beast system has deceived the entire world. It says that in Revelation, deceived the entire world. Well, what part of the world don't we get? That includes everybody. That's the entire world. So what bigger deception can there be than to deceive the entire world, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people want to go grab their King James Version and hug it and sleep on it at night like a pillow and say, oh, it's authorized. Oh, it's authorized. Well, they put that word in there. Is it true? They came from all the original writings. That was another lie. There are no originals. There weren't any originals back in the 1600s. The originals were destroyed after they made the corrupted translation.
Yeah.
That's the game.
I noticed when I was looking around the shop, when I was looking around all the shops trying to find a decent Bible, because all I have is the King James version. Yeah, all the bookshops, even the second-hand ones, barely had a Bible section. Like, I used to, when I wasn't looking for Bibles, when I didn't know what I know now, just browsing in the bookshops, I'd see a Bible section with lots of different ones. But when I was looking for one, like the Lamsa, George Lamsa Bible, all I could find were made-up Bibles for different subjects. There was even like an evil Bible, like the opposite, complete opposite. I can't remember what it was called, but anyway, New International and King James were pretty much the only ones in all the bookshops, and That's what I've noticed. Like, it's the same with everything. Like, everybody buys those ones because they've sold so many millions of copies, and
Yeah.
don't follow the crowd. Go the other way. Go the other direction.
They have
Look
to control
elsewhere.
the narrative. They have to control the narrative.
Yeah.
That's the way you control man.
Yeah.
And so they had to control the translations, and they had to control the words. Once the translations got out, and they couldn't keep people from reading the scriptures anymore, then they had to control the dogma and the words. So that's how they did it. So they engineered the words outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators, run by the Jesuit Curii. They put the cure in your eye. They took the mud off the Masonic mortarboard that you graduated with from school and put the mud in your eye so you couldn't see after you thought you knew everything. And so priesthoods run the world. And so people have to wake up to the fact they think that their scriptures was handed to them on a silver platter wrapped in tinsel gold, and it came from the dark catacombs of mud, of the Talmud, of the dirt, from the graves, from the crypt, from the darkness. But the beauty is that from this darkness that has occurred to us in our scriptures still comes forth the light, because the scriptures still breathe light, because it comes under the guise of light, even though they are in the control of the mother sons of darkness, which is what Masonic means, mother sons of darkness. Make Sean Ick. Mother sons of ink is ink. Black ink. Ma, mother. Sean, son. Mother sons of darkness. Control the narrative. They put themselves in our scriptures. They are the premier in the show, running the show. But the beauty is that because all things are serpent, that includes then Yeshua, the light, the cobra, the supporting power of creation, he can move and wiggle and twist and turn with their occultic magic. And in the end, when all the twisting and turning is done, he comes out and reveals the light of truth one more time. It's his game. It's not their game.
Yeah.
It's his game. He owns everything. He owns the show. He gave them free reign on earth, but in the end, they are the scapegoat, and he uses them for our benefit if we know the truth.
Wow. I was expecting you to keep going.
If one is willing to turn from the darkness, the light will shine. That's all one has to do, is turn from the darkness.
Yeah.
And there is hope. If somebody has breath left in them, there is hope for a return to the light. Okay, because that is the intention of this creation, is to bring us back to the light. The light shines every day. It says he lets the light shine on the good and the bad. Yeah. And everyone benefits from the light, but only a few of us can actually see what that Aisha Fe, that Aisha of the sun, absolutely represents. The great logo, it is Yeshua in the image of light. It is sweet to know the truth. And that is pointing the way back home. The way back home is from where we came from, where we fell from is the light. And so, while people are celebrating the darkest period of time in the year, while paradise has been burned down, and they're observing their Nimrod tree from Babylon, the green tree they cut down, as it says in Jeremiah chapter 9, chapter 10. Go read Jeremiah chapter 9, chapter 10. It describes perfectly the Christmas tree that one cuts from the woods, and they want to give presents and honor the day that more blood ritual sacrifices have ever occurred than any other time on earth, while they support commerce and Masonic commerce and Jewish banking, because that's all you're doing. You're supporting the beast by participating in the charade. I'm so glad I didn't waste my life, with the anxiety of having to participate in such a charade. And it's an emotional and a physical drain on people. More suicides are committed at the end of the year during this period of time because of the stress it creates for people to participate in this great lie and commercial racket. with all the jingle bells and the holy songs. You know, it all makes it feel so good. I can't stand.
I can't stand it either. I can't stand it, Desert.
Even though you know many of them have a very nice theme about the Mashiach and the baby and all that, but yet it's all Luciferian. That is the religious cult running the show. They got you on the string. They got you dancing to their tune. It's time to wake up, to be separate, and to be free for the first time, ladies and gentlemen. So that's a forbidden history, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here because somebody's got to do it. And if Ninja weren't here, we wouldn't be doing it. So Ninja, thank you so much for taking the time and coming out from the darkness that has also tried to affect you. We're all on the same path, attempting to go back home. And so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Desert. Yeah, I was relating a lot with what you said just then. Yeah, coming out of the darkness and into the light. I'm going through that. I'm going through that right now. And at the same time, I'm being shown. I won't say more of the. No, I won't say more of the darkness. I'm being shown the lies as I'm moving closer to the light, and yeah, it's just mind-boggling and amazing. And I just want to say again, thank you for letting me interview you and encouraging me to get past my nerves and my technical difficulties.
Yes.
To be able to do this. Sorry? I missed that.
In our patience, we possess our souls.
Oh, I haven't heard that in a while. Thank you. It's so true and so simple. Yeah.
I knew you'd get your systems worked out, and I'm so grateful. You're the only one who wanted to talk to me anyway. So where else was I going to go?
I still can't get over it. I still can't get over it. Like you're really cool to interview because you know how to talk. I don't. I just do wows and giggles. So
I say it the way it is. I think is what you mean, right? I say it.
Yeah.
I know how to call a spade a spade.
Yes. Yes.
And an occultist and an occultist.
Yes. Yes, you do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. And Yeshua did it. You know, he did it to me. I didn't. I never planned on this. You know, it's his work. It is his will. In other words, the knowledge that the great download of software that he gave to me wasn't for me. It was for everybody after the few who care. You know, like Love, like Martha Duncan, who's on today. I'm not on the computer, but I know you mentioned Martha, and the others. Lynn, who's always there helping out. Lynn, who's going through a tough time right now, and Lynn, I'm keeping you in creation of light. I'm keeping you in prayer as well for your situation. Everybody's going through a tough time, and it's only going to get worse for all of us.
Yeah.
Martha also went through a tough deal, and I hope she's doing okay. I keep Martha in my prayers, and anyone who I know is suffering. But the most powerful thing that can help us to be overcomers of any tough deal is our connection with the One, with Yeshua, with the Father, this great Spirit of Light, Yahweh, and to make that connection and to continue to serve the great light, to serve the light, to be done with this world, and to hit the books and see and read it for ourselves. That's what we have to do. It's work. It's a walk, and it's a wake. Well, no, I guess it's not a wake because that'd be a funeral. But a vak. Maybe it's a vak. I don't have to work in that one. But the words, they've given us all these terms, and we've got to now define everything. Because read means read at the riddle. And as it was defined well in a dictionary from the ancient past. And but the good news is that the force is, that old classic statement, the force is with us. Once we see the light, the force of that light is with us. Once we get on our knees and embrace the truth, the higher truth of Yeshua, and that Shemaine love, the divine love, the love that made all these things that provide for our needs, nature, the sustenance that it provides, the metaphors of this light of creation. Forget man for a moment. Just he's the problem. But, we know how beautiful it would really be if man were not here. And man means criminal and sinner, right?
Yeah.
And so there are two worlds here. There is a paradise right here, a paradisia. And we have to see that. I think it's paradisia. I think I just saw the word for the first time. The words keep unfolding as the code has been revealed to me. The Luciferians love the darkness. They're trying to figure out who's going to be their next rape victim. Who's going to be their next blood sacrifice? Who they're going to have to kidnap and kill next? I can't imagine. Like the classic Jeffrey Dahmer. What I can imagine what it must be to have been perverted from a child, because that's what he was. That's why he became what he was, Jeffrey Dahmer. Who was a military. They kept it under wraps that he was actually a military. Probably in Delta Force, and that he was sexually abused, as they do with all of these special forces. That's why they are special forces, because they will do whatever dirty deed they're told to do. And he's sexually abused from day one in his life, and so that by the time he's a young adult, knowing military protocols and techniques and to overpower other people, then he starts kidnapping young men and raping them, and then ultimately cutting out their heart and their liver and having them for lunch. And he didn't last, I think, a week in prison once he got there. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but it wasn't. But he was a product. He was made.
Yeah.
He didn't plan on being what he was by himself. He was made by this Luciferian world that wants to destroy and got you watching cartoons and Bart Simpson as if it's some type of an intellectual exercise. I'm sorry, Ninja.
I just want to respond to Remix. I don't know if you've met Remix. Uncopyrighted remixed. Sorry, it's 3:30 a.m.
Is that one of your listeners?
Yeah, uncopyrighted, remixed, and original audio Skywatcher. We call him Remix for short.
All right.
Yeah. He stopped by to say g'day. So he's saying thanks Ninja and Dezert-Owl. Love and peace to you all. Back at ya. Yeah.
I guess I'm sort of doing a remix here myself. So
I just want to say thank you as well. Thanks guys for showing up in the chat, and thank you Desert. This means a lot to me today, especially. Not because I'm in the future. It's actually 3.5 hours into December 25th. Yeah, I don't celebrate Christmas. And thank you to all of you for a wonderful start to a very sad day for me. So it's been tough. So thank you. I'm very grateful.
Well, you should include why, because I think because people won't get the picture. Your father passed away on Christmas a few years ago, right?
Yeah. Christmas morning, 11 years ago today. So,
right.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
I was aware of the reality of Christmas before it happened, but we still did Christmas. I was still stuck in the programming, and it's just been really hard. Like you were saying before with the Christmas carols, there was one year I was like, Christmas shopping was absolute torture. And there was one year where I was walking through Civic, which is the centre of Canberra, and there's a paved area going all between all the shops and things, and it felt like there was Christmas carolers and Christmas trees and Christmas, 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 everything. Felt like the carolers were stalking me. Like everywhere I turned, they were there. And yeah, the Christmas song's just great on me. Like I went down to Woolworths today with Mum and raced in there to grab some milk, because we always run out of milk on Christmas Day because nothing's open. And they were nice versions of the Christmas songs they were playing in there, but they still grated. I couldn't wait to get out of there. But it's a lot easier to handle this year. I think because I have all of you guys this time, so thank you. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's cap it off on a word, because I want to show people I can make a connection that I think will allow you to clearly see the word is relevant. As we know that the end of the year is the shortest day, and then what happens after the 3 days of the sun being at its lowest apex. In other words, the 3 shortest day of the year, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and then the days start getting longer again. That they call it the Saturnalia. Okay, and so just like the 7th day of the week is called Saturn's Day, Saturday.
Yeah.
The Saturn's Day.
Yeah.
So the same word at the end of the week, same word at the end of the year. Are you getting the picture? Okay. End of the year, end of the week, and it's called Saturn. And why? Because the word has been corrupted by the Jesuit order, and it is not Saturn. What happens when we go to Saturday? Don't we not go back then to the Sunday, to the beginning of the week, right?
Yeah.
And does not at the longest day of the darkness of the year, then the sun starts getting longer. The sun starts coming back
on Sunday.
24th.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm just thinking.
So,
yeah.
So the word Saturn is correctly soul turn, because the longest period. In other words, when the in the days of the week, when it goes further out, the farthest out it goes is to Saturn, and then from Saturn's day, it goes back to the center again, to the sun. It turns back to the soul, to the center, to the sun. And so it's soul turns day. It's turning back, and so that's why that's the day of meditation in the old covenant, right? Because our soul had to turn back towards the light, so that we could live again, so that we could be twice born. And so the same with the Saturnalia. It is the soul turn nail, the nail that it turns on, and now starts going back to the sun. The days start getting longer. So it is the soul turn. So there you go. Put that in your book, and realize that's a perfect example of how they manipulate the words, so we can never get the picture. Got it?
Got it. Wow.
All right. So are we on tomorrow, or do we know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm happy. Yep. I'm happy to do
this. For punishment. Okay.
Yep. Good to go.
All right. Well, tomorrow then we'll continue to make lemonade out of lemons, and see what we can talk about. All right.
Okay. I will do some more. Right. Do some more reading in the meantime.
All right. Yeah, you've got some good reading there, and so do I. I'm going to get to that coming up. All right. We'll talk later, and all the best to everybody out there. Hope you have a safe Saturnalia, and don't get nailed, okay? Because the goal and illusion, and identify with the true nature of what's going on. Actually, the end of the year is not January 1st. It is actually the first day of March. That's when the new year begins. That's why it's called March, and also called Mark, because that's when they would then go on the mark, or the march for the military. That's why they called it March, because that's when they would start sending out their military around the world, because the days were getting warmer, and that's why the longest months in spelling, January, February, the longest months still represent winter, and then March is a small word again. So it's the first day of the year is March, and they lied to us again. That's why December is number 10. That's number 10, right? And
wow.
October is 8. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
November Nova 9, because then you got 11 and 12 being January and February. You see, so it's in our face, but we never get the picture.
Yeah, it's
because
right
they're
there.
Such good
Yeah.
control. Yeah, we're under such good control. They've got us locked in,
Yeah.
and figured out. And we got to be set free, Ninja. So hopefully, those who are tuning in and hear this in the future will get the picture and be set free. Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
look for you tomorrow, and thank you so much, and be safe out there, and keep looking up. All right?
Okay. Thank you, Desert.
All right. Peace. Thank you.
See ya. Peace and light. Okay, that was another amazing program with Desert Owl. I'm going to wind it down with some music as per usual. Love you guys. Be safe. And I wish you all well. I wish you joy and happiness every day of the year, not just this one day. Okay, see you guys later.